Welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mystic Raven. All right, guys. It's been requested that I do an update on the Proc dot and drop build, and it's understandable why that was requested. For anybody running this build, they already know and they can tell you firsthand. My bow had a poison glyph on it, right? A poison enchantment that would proc Viper Sting, and it was really resourceful. It was. The devs caught on to it, and they took the giant nerf bat to it. Understandable. Completely understandable. With that being said, it was kind of limiting the proc chances for Vipers. We've made a couple of adjustments, and some people may like it, some people may not. I've tested a lot of things to try to get the best results for this build. Try to make it a little bit more accessible and still very functional. Without any further ado, I'm going to reintroduce you guys to the Homestead update for the Proc dot and drop build. All right, guys, so here we go. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to eat my food, make sure my buff is up. And then we're going to go right into the character sheet. So on the bow side, we're looking at health at 19,557. Stamina recovery is at 950. Max stamina is at 34,158. Our weapon damage without any buff or builders is 2,819, and weapon crit is at 55.7. I couldn't really ask for any better for the crit percentage on this side. On the left, you're going to see health is allocated at 6 and stamina is at 58, and of course we're running the warrior boon. Okay, on the dual side, we'll take a look, and the health remains the same at 19,557. Stamina, once again, is 34,175. Stamina recovery is still at 950. Here's the difference. The weapon damage you're going to see is at 3,309 without any buffer builders, and our crit percentage has slightly dropped to 54.7. Okay, so there's the character sheet. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the inventory, and I'm going to explain everything what we're going to do. So we've taken Vipers completely out of the equation. All right, we've maintained the Swamp Raiders. The reason we're maintaining the Swamp Raiders, especially with this build, it's the key element to the Proc dot and drop. The reason being is very simple. It's going to go ahead and give us 672 weapon crit. It's going to give us 126 weapon damage. It's going to give us 945 max stamina. And when we deal damage with the magical ability, your poison and disease damage gains an additional 440 weapon damage for 10 seconds. This is huge for the Stamina Nightblade, because the Stamina Nightblade deals disease damage. So this is why we really want to implement this set. Out of all the sets I have tried on the Stamina Nightblade, none is more effective than Swamp Raiders as far as trying to get that weapon damage and increasing the base amount of the damage for the Stamina Nightblade abilities. So Swamp Raiders is usually our focal point with this build, and it works out really well, guys. Once again, we're going to keep with the axes. Why? Because that's part of the build too, because we're not only dealing poison damage, we're also causing bleed effects. That's going to add to the dot. That's going to give us a lot of sustained DPS with our burst DPS. So this is why we don't see a lot of the top end damage compared to most stand builds like the Stam Sword. Instead, what we're seeing is a nice amount of front end damage with dot effects applied. So this works out great for the Stamina Nightblade once again. I really love it. So we're going to keep with that because we want to apply those bleed effects. The extra set we're going to go with is Night Mother Gaze. So here's the deal. I tried a couple of different excuse me, configurations with this build. And interesting enough, the way I tested it with Hundings, Night Mothers, Twiceborn has pretty good results with it. But the Night Mothers works out really well with this. The reason being, guys, because we're going to pick up the physical resistance. We're going to add pen to this. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add the penetration, right? That's what we're going to go ahead and do. We already have the weapon damage from the Swamp Raiders initially. So what we need to do is concentrate on penetration. So what's this going to do? It's going to be a crit set. Once again, we want to keep that crit around 55. So this is what that's doing for us. It's giving us that extra crit, and it's going to give us the pen. And it's really accessible. So I kind of like that. The way that works out for a lot of players, especially coming in. They want to get in. They wanted to start doing some really hard content right from the rip. This build really works out for that. This is why this build is so successful at this, because it's accessible. And even though Vipers was a farm fest, Night Mothers is a lot easier to obtain, and it's still pushing out a shitload nice result because we're putting that pen on there and we're maintaining our crit and our weapon damage. So that's why we're going with the Night Mothers. It just worked out better than Hundings did because of the penetration, because we already had the weapon damage. So with that being said, we have the Swamp Raiders Bone Axe in Sharpen. All right, so keep that in mind. It's 2,580. What I've decided to do was make the second axe with the Nirnholm. This is increasing our base weapon damage. So here's the rule of thumb, guys, and I'm going to tell you this. If we hit 100% penetration, we cannot exceed the amount past the stam or the amount of weapon damage. So if I go into my skills, and let's say I'm hitting power extract, when I hit the weapon damage and I get it up there, let's say I get this up to about 6,400, right? 6,004. If I'm at 100% penetration, Sharpen will not gain me any more past the 6,400 base. It just fucking won't. It just won't do it. That's a mathematical fact, guys. It will not exceed. Sharpen will not exceed once you're at 100% penetration. So you got to try to get close to the maximum that you can without exceeding over that, because once you do, you're actually losing your DPS. So that's why we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the Nirnholm Axe, because when they add major and minor breach, that's pushing us up towards the max amount that we can. Taking into consideration, we don't know which bosses have how much resistance. So we're going to go off general mobs and usually around the 18k marker. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to be doing here. So we're going to opt for the Nirnholm, increase the weapon damage. Okay, now with the bow, this is going to be our primary. We want to maintain. Now what you're going to see here, I have the weapon damage glyph here, and I have the crushers here. That's going to make up the difference for 5 seconds, if there is the difference on the bosses, especially on your finishers. So when we go ahead, we hit the weave, we hit the proc, we get this applied, we're going to make the difference up. Okay? And keep in mind now, guys, I'm going to get 2,580 for this Sharpen, but also keep in mind Night Mothers is going to be giving me, 2,550. That's covering all my basics. This is covering the distance. So this is why we're applying this. So we have the weapon damage enchant here, and we're going to have that crushers to offset it. With the bow, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to have the Sharpen, but we want the weapon damage enchantment increase to increase the damage amount. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stick with Veladraths. Now, since Homestead, no sets or no monster sets will crit. The procs will not crit. Excuse me. The reason we're going to go ahead and stay with the Veladrath here, it's still going to deal disease damage, which is basically a part of the build. But what's really nice, it kind of, when 3 disease spores go ahead and launch in front of me, it can, all 3 of them can hit different mobs, especially on, so it's acting like an AoE effect within itself. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. So once again, that's kind of a nice element to this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stay with the Veladrath. It still works out really good, and that's a pretty decent amount. The 9 seconds is a little derated, but it procs quite often. I'm really happy with that, so I'm going to stay with the Veladrath on this. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and get the weapon damage for the 1-piece slot. So we went with the heavy head infused, max stamina. We have the medium chest of the Night Mothers. Now, typically, you would probably want to go heavy with this and probably medium on the Veladrath. But I already have it in heavy, so I just went with the medium Night Mothers chest. And, of course, I had the light Veladrath epilots in stamina. The reason being that we're going to go ahead, and now this is divine. Light is we want that undaunted metal. We want to keep that passive so we get the 6% towards all of our stats. Also, we're going to see that I have the Belt of Night Mothers in Divine, max health, We have the gloves of Swamp Raiders, Divine Max Health. We have the legs of Night Mothers, medium, infused, max stamina. And of course, we have the boots of the Night Mothers, Divine Max Health. As far as the jewelry, you're going to have to use all the Swamp Raiders. And of course, those are robust. They don't drop in anything else. I've never seen them drop, healthy or arcane. And then we have those glyphed with max weapon damage. Now, if you want a little bit more sustainability, say you're not a Bosner. I'm a Bosner. I have a nice amount of regen, but you need a little bit extra regen. I would suggest go ahead and leave one of these with recovery. Just saying, if you're anybody but a Bosner, you might want to leave one of these recovery for more sustain. So there's the setup initially. So let's go ahead and get into the skills. We've made a couple minor adjustments on the skills. Okay, so Lotus Fan. This is going to be our proc for our Swamp Raiders. I like it because it's a gap closer. This is pretty much an all melee bar, right? The reason I like the gap closer, it's going to throw down an AoE effect. Now, it's going to deal less damage than any of my other abilities because it's based on Magicka. I'm a stamina build. But it's going to proc the Swamp Raiders, but I'm still going to get the AoE effect. So for me, I want to go ahead and I want to use Lotus Fan. Now, if you don't want to use Lotus Fan, for example, and you want to stay all range with this, that you can do. So if I wanted to, sorry, let me find it. I can use something like debilitate. So I can use this, apply, it's magical, and it'll proc the effect. Now I'm going to show you a trick also later on that is going to be kind of interesting that you didn't know, I didn't know, but it definitely works. So if you don't want to use this, there are some options. Now also we're going to go ahead and use the Power Extract. Once again, Power Extract's an AoE effect. It's going to deal disease damage and it's going to give us major brutality. That's going to increase our weapon damage by 20%. So this is our builder. So this is really important. That's going to go ahead and throw us the builder. Now for now I've got Trap Beast. I'm going to be morphing this to Rearming Trap. The reason being I'm up close, it's going to basically increase my critical damage. By having it slotted, I'm going to increase the weapon damage from the passive in the Fighters Guild. So when we go down to Slayer, increase my weapon damage by 3% for each Fighter Guild ability slotted. So this is giving me an additional 3% towards my weapon damage. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize that, and I'm going to increase the crit damage amount. So I'm going to go ahead and put Trap Beast on this. Even though it doesn't deal disease damage, it's going to increase my crit capability. Killer Blade. Killer Blade is our finisher. So it's going to deal 4,298 disease damage and an additional 300% more damage to targets below 25%. And also it heals 20% of my max health if the target dies within 2 seconds. I never bank on that. So I'm just telling you guys. Of course, Camouflage Hunter is going to be on both bars. The reason being this is going to give us major savagery. That's going to increase our crit percentage. And incapacitating strikes. A lot of people want to use put Dawnbreakers on here, and you can't do that. The reason I like incapacitating strikes is when I'm towards the finisher, I will hit this ultimate for 70 ultimate. That's going to increase the damage done to them by 20%. So once I hit this, I'm going to hit them with the finisher. That's going to increase my finisher by 20%. So with all the buffs and stuff, I'm hitting around 45,000 on my finishers. So it's really nice. So once I hit this, I get the weave, I get the proc. If that's not including Warhorn, I'm getting about 45. Warhorn, I should be pushing up to about a little less than 50, which is, nice. If I don't get any buffs or procs or this, my average is about 33, 35. So there's a huge difference there. And that's with Spell Power Cure. So I'm going to tell you that. If I can get the Spell Power of Healer with Spell Power Cure, get Incapacitating Strikes, and Finisher, I'm hitting 45. With the Warhorn, I'm pushing closer up to the 50. So that's what this is sitting at. It's really nice, guys. Especially with the Killer Blade. It's going to work out to your advantage. All right, Venom Arrow. Now, here's the deal, guys. I'm always going to tell you this. I like the Venom Arrow because it's going to deal poison damage. It's going to add an additional dot. So I'm going to add the bleed. I'm going to add this dot on single target damage. It's a no-brainer because it's a set and forget. I can go ahead and just apply the dot damage. We're going to be using Shadow Silk. This is an AoE effect, plus it's going to give a synergy, especially to your trial groups. A lot of people are like, well, is this trial ready? You can definitely use this in vet trials. This build performs really well in vet trials, especially people who are going to wear Alkosh or any other trial sets, because they're going to want synergy effects. This is going to provide that. So Shadow Silk is going to deal poison damage, provide a synergy, and an AoE effect all at once. So I'm going to tell you guys, if you're going to be rolling vet trials, especially with people you know who are wearing mall sets, this is a great AoE effect. Acid spray. Even on single targets, I'm going to apply acid spray. Why? Because it's going to add another dot effect. So this is my primary AoE. These are my two AoEs along with the power extraction. So I'll hit the power extraction for the builder. I'll hit the Shadow Silk, acid spray, and then I'll usually spam up the power extraction when I'm in close. So, or I can do the acid spray spam. Either or, depending on the scenario. It works out really good because it's going to deal 5,399 poison damage, and I'm going to get an additional 3,312 poison damage over 5 seconds. On single targets, I'm still going to apply this. Even though it's not an AoE, I don't need an AoE, I still want that dot effect on the boss. Okay, Relentless Focus. So we've actually added Relentless Focus into this. So we're going to do a lot of weaves. When we're on single target, I'm going to go ahead and proc, and I'm going to go ahead and lay down the rearming trap. I'm going to hit my dot, and I'm going to weave up. So I'm going to hit the Relentless Focus. I'm going to hit the 5 time on the weave, hit the Relentless Focus. This is going to increase my DPS output, because what it's going to do for light attacks or heavy, I'm not going to deal heavy, it's all going to be light. It's going to charge it, and I'm going to be able to release the Spectral Bow to deal 14,727 disease damage, and that's prior with the proc. Sorry about this. I'm getting a weird call. I will be shutting this off. Once I get this procced up, I'm dealing close to about 16,000. That's without the crit. Okay, once again, Camouflage Hunter, that's going to be on both bars. And of course, the Toxic Barrage. You do not want the Ballista on this. You want the Barrage, because when you get the proc, you're going to deal actually closer to 47, almost 47. It's like 46 something. But you're going to deal 44,320 poison damage over 4.1 seconds. After it ends, it's going to deal an additional 35,565 poison damage over 8 seconds. This is great, especially on your boss encounters. So it works out perfect, guys. So I'm going to tell you, you're dealing poison disease, stick to the basics with this build, guys. Okay, so let's go over the champion points here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the ritual. This was pretty finicky, especially when I was implementing the Night Mothers. But we made some adjustments, kept testing a couple of things, switching between, and this is how we ended up with this. So we're dealing a lot of dot damage with the bleeds and poison. So we have Thaumaturge up to 18.5. Since we are running a little low because we're not running another sharpened weapon, we want to allocate piercing up to 3,163 with 57 points allocated. Mighty is going to drop down to 21. Now, usually a lot of people like to stack that. Please do not do that. I usually go typically 23, but since I've already picked up the weapon damage through other means, I want to pick up the penetration. So we're going to put the difference into the piercing. Ironclad's at 17, 7.1 just for the breaks. We got Hardy at 16%. I am a vampire to increase my recovery. So Elemental Defenders at 25%. Quick recovery is at 7.8. Magicians at 1.5, just, because I'm using the Lotus Fan. I just want a little bit of magic recovery, but not a lot. Warlord, we want to reduce as much ability as possible, so at 12.5. Mooncalf's at 19.5. I am a Bosner. I don't need it up so high. Now, if you weren't a Bosner, I would suggest allocating more points into this. Arcanist is at 1. Once again, I'm using Lotus Fan. Tenacity is at 3.8. If I have to do heavy attacks to do recovery, I want to take advantage of that. So we kept it very little, but just at 3.8. Healthy, once again, I'm a vampire. I want to negate some of that, loss to health recovery. So I'm going to go ahead and put 10% into healthy. Befoul. I haven't adjusted this, and I'm still been debating about that. Because right now we have no CP. Usually, typically, this is a PvP. Now, if you wanted to, you could take this out and put it towards your recovery. That's completely optional. If they keep no CP, I'll be getting rid of Befoul, and I'll actually be putting it into my recovery. The reason I want it in Befoul, because when you're looking at CP PvP, you're dealing disease damage. That's a debuff. You want to reduce the healing effect. All right, and tumbling is just at 2%. There is nothing in the apprentice, and there's nothing into the astronaut. So there's pretty much the build. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead, pick up the daily, see what we got going on, and then I'll go over a couple of the combos, rotations, and things like that for you guys. Now, if anybody's going to ask me what kind of style it is, I was able to pick up the ebony motif. And so other than the gloves, this is in the head and shoulders, obviously, this is all ebony. It looks pretty badass, actually. I'm pretty happy with the style. But yeah, guys, it was very. Now I got a couple of other builds I'm going to be doing with the Nightblade, hopefully this week as well, at least one. But I'm hoping. I'm still trying to gather up stuff. We'll just stick to the normal bets.
My comrade, Dark Shade.
Dark Shade. 2.
Look me temp.
Wow. That last boss right there can be a bitch. But other than that, everything else is good. It's just the last boss. You really got to pay attention to mechanics. Alright, so Dark Shade 2 and Tempest. Alright, and I'll queue up the normals too, I want to get in here. So, normal isn't really a good testament to anything though, but whatever. Alright. While we're waiting, once again, I like to go to Rothgar. It has a nice little single target, so I can just mess around. Pick up a couple AoE targets, pick up a couple single targets. Craglorn, I always test usually AoE type effect. Well, I did prior to, one Tamriel. It was really hard. That was a good testament to AoE, output. Okay, now watch it be Tempest. Actually, yeah, it probably is going to be. Let's see what we got. No, Dark Shade. Okay, nobody was in there, but thank God. Okay, we got a tank with a shield. I'm very happy. Argonian DPS. Whatever. Okay, I'm ready. Oh, dude. No heals. Come on. No, snap. What is the other dude doing? Oh my God. Let me see this. Not layering. That's not gonna work on the one guys. Gotta layer AoE, guys. You have to. If you don't layer AoEs, you're Whatever. It's our funeral. Let's have at it. I feel like dying a shitload today.
Appear to be in some sort of catatonic. Something's wrong here.
Come on. Okay, first we're going to clean up all these ads first. I want to try to keep to the back as much as possible here, guys. This bitch deals fire damage. I'm a vampire. I'm definitely not feeling froggy today. This healer sucks. What the what in the hell is going... Oh, shit! Triple cure! I rest my case. Devs. Stop this shit, man. This is what happens when you get somebody who's like, I can play every role. Yeah, sure you can. Sure. Yeah. Sure you can. Devs, please stop it. Please make them pick one or the other. Please, for God's sakes. People trying to get in here, get a fucking queue. This is what happens. People die. It just takes forever. Because you got some person who's like, oh, I could play every role. No, you can't. No, you can't. Not efficiently. Not efficiently. Normal. If this was normal, it would be a whole different ball game. This is vet. You know, grow up, guys. You know, get with it. Let's get rid of this fucking healer. Please, for God's sake. You are gone. Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? This person isn't even healing. We wiped. Is this person with you guys? Oh my God. This person... Oh God. This person sucks. They can't heal? Oh God. Whatever. We got one person not layering, spamming the same shit. Yeah. God, I'm out of stamina. What a day. I don't care if they're another healing class. That's not the issue here. Okay, first thing I want to do on this situation, guys. I want to make sure everything's procced up. Weave it up. And then I'm going to hit this. Okay, now that's just applied the dot effect. Hit the spectral bow. Now I want to try to get this down to 25 before I hit the other ultimate. Okay, I'm gonna have to weave up here a little bit. $39. Okay, no spell power, cure buff, no warhorn. We're getting 39. That's not bad. Definitely not bad. No, too premature on that. Why? How do you? If you're a healer, how do you die? Why is the... Oh, shit. Get me out of here. Give me this. Ah, shit. Yeah, don't spam it. Just let it sit there so I can synergize with it. Why do sorcerers do that? Some sorcerers will just spam liquid lightning. I never get that. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, God. I've never rage quit one time since my streams. I don't really want to start. This is not gonna work. This person's... I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, man. We got one DPS. It spams the same AoE we got. Whatever. And I have a sorcerer healer, which is fine. I don't care. Sorcerer healers are badass. Actually, I like sorcerer healers. I don't mind. I do not mind not having a Templar. I play sorcerer healer. Most of you guys know this. Don't mind them. Very hard build, though. If it doesn't work out right, you're kind of fucked. You can kill people pretty quick if you don't got that build done right. Wowzers. No way we get past the niche. No flipping way. Okay, guys, in these circumstances, make sure you're doing some heavy attacks to recover. Hit those synergies, get it up. God, I love it. Okay, once again, I'm going to weave up. Get that Hawkeye up there. This is where we definitely could die. You miss a heal. What's crazy to me, they don't even have the matriarch. You're going to be a sorcerer healer. Your primary healing is the matriarch. It is the Twilight matriarch, without a doubt. If you are going to be a sorc healer, you need that matriarch. Oh, I like how he's picking me up first versus the healer. What am I gonna do? He can't even finish it. Can't even finish a... Oh, he got that dude up instead. Looked like he was getting me. Actually, I think this is comical, actually. I think this is a prime example of do's and don'ts in dungeons, especially vets. Sorc healers, great healers. So they're actually top-end healers as far as 4-mans are concerned. When it comes to a 4-man, vet dungeons, sorcerer healers push out a shitload of healing. Problem of it is, the build is very finicky. No room for error. Templars have a lot more flexibility, right? Probably the most flexible healing build that you can go with is a Templar. Very novice in my opinion. The most complex heal build is going to be your Sorcerer. Sorcerer, everything has to be like dead on. Everything has to be like just right for the Sorcerer healer to work. Doesn't have a lot of room for error. There's no margin for error. Why me, dude? Really? This is a wipe, man. Fuck it. I'm dead anyways. Need I say more? I'll sip my latte while I'm waiting. Heal. Heal. Drink the potion and heal. I'll wait till the pound's over. I'm not getting up. It's pointless at this point. The tank's beast, by the way. So, Derek the Monster. You're a hell of a tank, man. Props. Props to Derek the Monster. He sustains very well. I'm going to try to recommend the kick again. Lesson, people, lesson. Don't triple Q. Don't do it. Don't triple Q. It's not to your benefit. It's not. Oh, God. Are you fucking... Dude, guys, this is a wipe, man. This dude can't heal for the life of him. And this is why I typically like to play healing roles. I can get usually a team through anything. I hate that shit. Dead man walking, heal my ass. This may be the first. This might be the first, y'all. I might actually have to bail on this group. Dude, don't even try it. You brought in somebody who can't heal. In a vet. What was you guys thinking? This is comical. This is hilarious, actually. I'm actually going to go over here. I'm going to try to recommend the kick. Just... yeah. With somebody, but sorry guys, it's not gonna work. It's just not. They're not gonna complete it. I'll be here all day with their hopeful asses. It's just not gonna work. Alright guys, so there's the updated build. I'm sorry I didn't get to show it, but at least you got to see a couple of the crits. You got to see a couple of the rotations. Works out really well, especially when everything's firing in your group content. So in 4-mans, you get the major and minor breach or penetration. The more when the tank and other classes add the major and minor fracture, you're going to increase your DPS. We've covered all the basics. We've gotten everything done. PvP elements, you might want to change up a few things if you're going to use this for PvP. Once again, it is completely doable for PvP. I would probably get, if I'm going to do this build for PvP, and we'll just put it out there. If I was going to PvP, I personally am going to keep the Venom Arrow. I'm going to get rid of Shadow Silk. It's pointless. I'm going to keep the Acid Spray for PvP. Why? Because it's going to reduce their speed by 40%. So it's going to give them a crippling effect, and it's giving them a CC, and it's adding the poison damage and the dot effect. Dot effects will get cleansed most of the time in PvP, but 1v1s it works out really nice. I'm actually going to still keep the Relentless Focus on keeps, but in other scenarios, most likely not. You got to prime it 4 times, and in PvP, 4 little light attacks will probably get your ass killed. So most of the time. So I would say that as well. Relentless Focus on keeps good. On the ground, not so much. Okay, guys. Also, I would change Rearming Trap for the ranged version of it, and obviously keep the Killer Blade. Personally, I would still probably keep the Power Extract, but you can go ahead and put into for the Surprise Attack too. Get that for the Major Fracture for the pen. So there it is, pretty much said and done. I'm sorry I didn't. This is the first. This is an ESO Daily first. I didn't get to complete a run. Because I didn't, and that Sorcerer Healer, it wasn't a healer. It was not the healer build. Definitely made Sorcerers look bad, but Sorcerer Healers are really good if you got the build right. So do not let one person on this show discourage Sorcerer Healers. Sorcerer Healers are good. It's just very finicky. It's a very, it's not a novice build. Okay, you got to know what you're doing. Alright guys, once again and always, I want to thank you for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please post below. I do want to thank everybody for who has given me support on this build before in the past. I hope this, maintains its reputation. Like I said, it was unfortunate. Oh, there's another thing I want to go ahead and show you guys real quick. So I'm going to switch out one little thing here, and I want to show you guys something. If I can, I think the legs. Okay, the reason I'm going to show you guys this is because I want to go to the bow side, right? And Okay, so now we got this. I'm going to switch out one skill real quick. And I just want to show it to you guys. Okay, I'm going to put Draining Shot in here. Alright? I'll go to Craglorn real quick, or wherever, or Rothgar, or wherever. I just want to show you this. It was kind of interesting. So I'm playing around with testing. So I do a lot of testing. You know, I go through a lot of things, testing different skills, different effects, trying to get, you know, the best rotation layout I can for each build, the best I can. You know, I have people who will argue with me day and night and left and right about this skill, that skill, blah, 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 blah. I'm not perfect, people. I'm just putting out, it is open to interpretation when I put out builds. If there's something that works for you, like say if the set works but the rotation doesn't work, you want to change up your rotation, that's fine. You know, I always tell people I would rather you make the build your own. I'm just giving you ideas. I'm putting out a build out there. If you get something from it, great. If not, hey, I get it. So that is what it is. But here's an interesting fact. So I'm playing around yesterday. I go ahead and I put on self-sustainability. And what ended up happening was the secondary effect at one time proc the Swamp Raiders. Now, I don't know if that's a bug or what. I don't know. Now, I had to switch out. But when I got the heal effect, for some reason, it procced it. I don't know. I just don't know if this is going to be the case or not. But it was kind of interesting because I don't know why it did it. But it did. You know, so devs, if you guys are paying attention, I don't know if it was just a glitch. It could have been something I hit or something. But when the heal came back to me, for some reason, the Swamp Raider procced. I do not know if that's a bug. I do not know. I have no idea. I don't want people exploiting it. But if anybody finds out on this, you guys get some results, please let me know. I was messing around, and I just was like, okay, you know, I'll go ahead and throw this, throw that. And I was just messing around on both sides. Right there. See it? Do you see it? I have no... The health... The healing came back, procced my Swamp Raiders. I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know, but it was pretty whatever, you know. I don't know if it's a spectral bow either because it costs stamina. It was weird. But heads up, guys. So if you don't want to use like a Lotus Fan, there are a couple of things that are proccing it. So I think anything with a magical effect that has a secondary effect to it is proccing Swamp Raiders. So I don't know if that's intentional. But I just want to put it out there. All right, guys. So once again, and always, thank you and for watching, and have a nice day.